UIC. Freedom the people of hell yeah. Freedom the people of need. Yeah, yeah. Freedom the people of want. Freedom the people of need. Yeah, yeah. Freedom the people of want. Freedom the people of need. Yeah, yeah. Freedom the people of want. Freedom the people of need. Yeah, yeah. Real man a road. Now bow wolf in a tree grand a road. Now bow down to no demon a road. UIC when you see man a road, me say yeah. Real man a road. Now bow wolf in a tree grand a road. Now bow down to no demon a road. UIC when you see man a road. Ready for broke every chain. That when you free up the people, levitate. Jamaica member, you ever great. I feel burn up the fire upon every snake. Me give thanks in every way. God still a look down once see we safe. UIC run the road long time. JLP and PNP I sell we out. Still I do the test even though we know the end result. If them coulda kill with them catch we and hang we know. No force no coercion, me freedom in a step. No want fi rob we and kill we and feel them and go make it out. You know see the leeches, you know see the hands of the devil when him sleep with. You know see the leeches, you know see the hands of the devil when him sleep with. Yeah, real man a road. Now bow wolf in a tree grand a road. Now bow down to no demon a road. UIC when you see man a road, me say yeah. Real man a road. Now bow wolf in a tree grand a road. Now bow down to no demon a road. UIC when you see man a road. Yeah, me drop the graphing now, and then I laughing now. What them talking about? Everything cement and we not talking growth. Jamaican intellectuals are marching now. Them couldn't get the last laugh, no them laughing loud. We don't need the small talk when we talking bro. We don't need them 5 grand, we need to part them now. Long time JLP and PNP I sell we out. Still I do the test even though we know the end result. If them coulda kill with them catch we and hang we know. No force no coercion, me freedom in a step. Them want fi rob we and kill we and feel them and go make it out. You know see the leeches, you know see the hands of the devil when him sleep with. You know see the leeches, you know see the hands of the devil when him sleep with. Yeah, real man a road. Now bow wolf in a tree grand a road. Now bow down to no demon a road. UIC when you see man a road, me say yeah. Real man a road. Now bow wolf in a tree grand a road. Now bow down to no demon a road. UIC when you see man a road, yeah. Real man a road. Now bow wolf in a tree grand a road.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to another edition of UIC Liberty TV. This is Joseph Patterson, President of UIC Jamaica, coming to you live from St. Elizabeth again. Tonight we're going to be talking about why Jamaicans are not farming. So I'm going to be explaining to you why we're not seeing a lot of people engaged in farming in Jamaica, and you're going to be quite surprised in some cases what the problem is, and in other cases might not. You're also going to learn about the UIC solutions and how we can make Jamaica the organic food capital of the world. So let me just say a quick hello to all of you. I see Alan Scott and McCall. I see MB. I see Winston Hammond. Good evening to each and every one of you. Thank you, Sylvester. Lawrence, and I see Carlos Gray, I think, as well. Welcome and good evening to all of you. It's a pleasure to be here with you. I know I've been away for a while, but I'm very happy to be on tonight to talk to you about this very important topic. I'm expecting to be joined by, here we go, I see her, goodly Vice President. Good evening, Carly Ramirez Acosta. How are you?
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. I'm okay, Mr. President. Quite fine.
Wonderful. Good to see you on. So tonight we
Thank
have
you.
quite a discussion to have. It's going to be about farming. And as you know, the UIC is big on farming because we see that as Jamaica's oil. You know, this is our real oil. It is sustainable. It is credible. It is what we can do best, and we used to do very good at it. But for some reason, which I'm going to explain, we have fallen terribly behind. So I'm looking forward to our discussion on that this evening. Let's just welcome some more of our guests online. Can you see them, Carlene? Can you see the names as they come down the list?
Let me see.
I see Maisie Miller. Welcome, Maisie. I see Gerald Riley as well.
I'm not able to see the list. I'm not sure why.
You're on your phone, right?
Yes,
That might be the reason. It might be a bit small.
smaller, right.
Yeah, so no worries. So I will do the job for you. Thank you very much.
Okay.
So Mrs., we're all playing a role here. So a while ago, Mrs. Patterson just brought me some water so I can drink as we go along. All right. So I'm going to kick this off by, first of all, just doing a little bit of an introduction for all of us. I'm going to do a bit of an introduction, just so we have, you know, the background for all of this. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do, if you bear with me, I'm going to play for us a video. And this video is going to give you a bit of a backdrop to the rest of our conversation. So for you to watch the video, it's about 2 minutes. It speaks to some of the aspects of farming in Jamaica. And then we're going to go into a little bit of a presentation by myself and then a discussion between all of us together with the Vice President, Carly Ramirez. So let's begin. Let me see if I can get the video up for us. I tend to sometimes have a bit of a challenge with that. Oops, let's see here. We're going to do this now, shared screen. And I'm going to go and find that video for us. Here it is. I think I have it here. Here we go. Here's the video. And let's see if we can share that. And here we go.
Public is being watched.
So before I press play on that video, I'm going to make sure you can see it on screen. So there you go. You can see that now. Again, good evening, Michael. Good evening to all of you who are just chiming in. So let's see if we can watch this video now and get a feel for the topic.
The public is being warned to look out for stolen meat on the market that may not be fit for consumption. Some farmers in Cave Valley are now up in arms with their local police after thieves have been slaughtering their animals. Shamila Pullen has this report.
The most recent incident happened 2 weeks ago in Cave Valley, St. Anne, where thieves slaughtered a number of cows belonging to Andrew Brown.
They come and kill some of the animals around, kill one for me and one for my sleep, and few get away just the same. But from a long while now they've been doing that.
And he's not the only one who has been losing animals to thieves. But the farmers are even more concerned because the meat, which is not safe for consumption, is being sold to unsuspecting people.
Basically, when they come, at times they don't take like one, if it was just one, but sometimes they take 5, 6, 7, 8, different figures, then they'll stop at a total.
Some calf is to be delivered like next week, tomorrow, sometime. And this morning there's a calf on the ground, jumping same way in the stomach. And people eating these meat. Come on, man, have a heart.
They're also accusing the police of inaction when reports are made.
Poor people are crying out. We are sufferers. We are not rich. We are just mere farmers. Just hand to mouth, right? My husband don't even own a car. It's a bicycle him ride. And I walk him every day to the field. Every day I have to walk to the field, morning and evening, right? To and fro. And this is what they are doing to us. They need to stop.
We need help. And when we say help, we need help from the authority.
In response, head of the St. Anne Police Senior Superintendent Dwight Powell says since the start of the year, the Cave Valley Police have only received 2 reports relating to predial larceny.
So I want to use the opportunity to say to the citizens, especially in Cave Valley, if they have the view that the report are not being appreciated by the police, then I have at St. Anne's headquarters stand ready and willing to appreciate this report.
Shamila
So there you have it, a short report from TVJ News where they showed you some of the challenges that our farmers are undergoing, particularly predial larceny, the fact that you work hard and then somehow you cannot actually benefit from your hard work. So tonight I want to begin by saying, let me give you the backstory on why Jamaicans are not farming. I want to also share with you my plans to make Jamaica the organic food capital of the world, and why Jamaica will continue to become more and more of an import nation after 78 years of the JLP and PNP rule. I know it is very easy for us to blame young people and to call people lazy, but when you watch this presentation carefully, you'll see clearly why farming is dying and why the Jamaican dollar is also declining under these two colonial parties and the PSOJ elite, or what I call the oligarchs, who have funded them and controlled them to this very day. Jamaicans are not farming for one simple reason. It is unprofitable to do so. And the reason why it is unprofitable to farm in Jamaica is because the JLP and PNP have made it very difficult for Jamaicans to survive and thrive in their own country. Farming requires 6 ingredients in order for it to be profitable. Ingredient number 1, there must be a conducive environment, which we have in abundance here. Number 2, there must be an economical supply of water and energy for the farmers to use. You must have, number 3, you must have competent management and workers in order for you to stay competitive. Number 4, you must have profitable markets for you to be motivated. Number 5, you must have modern technology to stay competitive with those who have access to those technology. And number 6, you must be able to harvest your crop with confidence, knowing that what you sow, you will actually be able to reap. How does Jamaica score on these 7 ingredients after 78 years of stewardship by the JLP and PNP? Let's think about it. On the issue of conducive environment, these two parties have gradually destroyed our limited supply of good lands with bauxite mining and with indiscriminate housing projects on good farmlands, while fostering the destruction of organic farming with imported chemical pesticides and herbicides and artificial fertilizers that actually destroys the natural health of our soil. So over time, over 78 years, they have used their time in office to create less than conducive conditions for farming in Jamaica in those areas. Number 2, when it comes on to the economic supply of water and energy, how has these two parties done? How have they done? They have failed to create a solid water harvesting infrastructure to supply water cheaply and adequately around the island. They chose to monopolize instead of diversify our energy sector, making us dependent on foreign oil and one supplier of expensive electricity. This undermines farmers tremendously, because if you don't have cheap energy, if you don't have access to water, then you're going to have a really great amount of difficulty trying to be an effective farmer in a modern world. Number 3, how do they score on providing competent management and workers for the farm industry? They have created a government monopoly in the education industry, and they have provided a monolithic education system that fails over 70% of our students every year. while at the same time forcing the best and the brightest of us to become economic refugees in other countries in order for those persons to find and enjoy a decent standard of living and a decent earning. This brain drain reduces both the quality of management and the quality of workers in the farming sector and makes us less productive and less profitable. We don't have a reliable or a productive supply of labor here in Jamaica today, simply because of the policies of these two parties over 78 years. And don't forget that, we're talking about 78 years. Number 4, you cannot have a very productive farming sector if you do not provide profitable markets for farmers. What did the two parties do over the last 78 years? They made local farming expensive and they make exporting difficult, while allowing cheap imports to push our farmers out of business, thus making it easy for foreigners to dominate both the market and both the local market and the international market, to the detriment of local farmers and local residents. This also contributes to driving up the cancer rate in the country. It drives up obesity and it drives up other health care problems and costs in the economy. This in turn helps to drive down the value of our currency, or what I like to call fake money, because it is. Number 5, the 5th ingredient which you need is modern technology to stay competitive. Let's check out what these two parties have done in terms of this area. They have made it too hard and too costly to import modern technology to keep up with our global competitors. This, coupled with other factors, are pricing us out of the market both locally and internationally. It's just common sense. If we have to buy technology at prices higher than our competitors, we have lost before we start. Then, if our labor market is weaker than our competitors, we have again lost. And if our government is working against us on exporting, we cannot survive. That is why every industry in our country is dying or are becoming foreign owned. So the longer we maintain these two parties in power, you should see a trend. The trend is the longer they're in power, the more our local industries die, the more whatever industries we do have are taken over by foreigners, and the more we lose our best and brightest because they go overseas to find better living standards and earning potentials. The 6th ingredient is having confidence. Will you be able to reap what you sow? This is the JLP and PNP's final nail in the coffin of farming in Jamaica. They have failed to deliver the one thing we need from government more than any other, and that is security. Without the security of being able to confidently plant, care for your plants, and harvest your crop, and then sell and enjoy the fruits of your labor in peace and safety, you will have little or no incentive to engage in farming. And if you even try a few times, after you suffer continuous losses, you will eventually stop. And when your children or your neighbor's children see how much you have suffered and failed, they would rather become scammers than farmers. And that's what we're seeing in Jamaica. This, my friends, are the 6 reasons why Jamaicans are not farming on the scale we need to farm to become economically independent as a nation. We need all 6 of these ingredients in order for us to get excited about farming. We need a conducive environment, which we have in abundance. But our government is gradually depleting that environment with very bad policies, bad housing policies, bad mining policies, which are robbing us, bad importation policies. We need economical supply of water and energy. We cannot build a farming sector if water is hard to come by and the cost is being driven up steadily. We need a low-cost energy solution. We cannot continue to have a monopoly that monopolizes the sector of energy, uses fire and oil as the base, and does not diversify, because that drives up the cost of energy and drives our local producers out of business. We need competent management and competent workers. That's the only way for us to stay competitive. So as long as our school system is failing 70% of our students, we will not have the kind of management on the ground and the kind of labor on the ground to do the work in a productive and efficient manner. And we'll continue to lose quality workers, quality managers to foreign soils. We must have profitable markets. If we don't have profitable markets, both local and international, we cannot be motivated. And if our government continues to be an impediment in the market, stopping us from having access to markets outside of Jamaica by putting a lot of bureaucracy in our way, and if they continue to make it difficult for us to import technology to make us more profitable here at home in meeting the demands at home, then you're going to demotivate Jamaicans in the sector. And of course, they're going to be very ready to welcome foreigners in who will give them big bribes, and then they will give them the markets, and Jamaicans will become servants in their own country. The same thing is true about the modern technology that we have to use. As long as we cannot access the technology at a reasonable price, we will not be able to compete with our competitors overseas. And finally, if we cannot have confidence that we're going to reap what we sow, and we're going to lose that to thieves of all forms, whether the thieves are elected thieves or unelected thieves, if we're going to lose what we're planting, we're not going to be motivated. The UIC has the plans ready to make us the organic food capital of the world. We will use good governance, farming, and modern technology to make Jamaica water, food, and energy secure, while making Jamaica a safe, clean, and orderly society with our top-down anti-crime plan and our bottom-up economic growth strategy, which are all based on liberating our people from the colonial divisive system of politics, which only serves to divide and distract, so that the PSOJ elites can extract the wealth of the nation together with the colonial masters, extract the wealth of the nation by stealth while we fight each other over party. The UIC will do away with that system. We will create one Jamaica, united, strong, and free. You can rest assured that a vote for the UIC is a vote for not only a united Jamaica, but an economically strong Jamaica built on the foundation of organic farming and community tourism, as well as leveraging technology and building our human capital with a diversified education system. Now let me welcome to the discussion our VP, Carlene Ramirez Acosta. Carlene, what do you have to say?
Hi. Right. So I am also concerned. It's a concern for everyone in relation to predial larceny. And I totally agree that the theft of agricultural produce and livestock is definitely affecting the development of the agricultural sector, right? And when you look at the amount of money that is being lost in this sector over annually, it's approximately 321 million US dollars, which is definitely quite a lot. When it is not right. Sorry, go ahead, sir.
No, you go on, continue. I was saying absolutely.
Right. So it's quite a lot of money that has been lost in this area. So while it is not something that is limited to Jamaica alone, right? I believe that overall the entire world, should actually pool our resources together to see how best we can come up with some form of solution to this serious crisis, right?
Yeah,
And
the good thing is we do have the solution. The solution is to, well, first of all, the way I like to look
yes,
at this, I like to look at problems from a cause and effect relationship.
right,
Now, if we have been using, it's a company, Carlene. Here's the company. The company is called Jamaica. Jamaica is a
right.
company. Let's call it that, right? The company. We have had two sets of managers for
Mhm.
70 years. So we employed one manager from a group of people, a group that
Right,
calls themselves the PNP. We employed them with whatever philosophy they have, whatever ideals they have, whatever management style they have, whatever structure they're going to use. We employed the PNP for about 30 years, well, more than 30 years out of the 78, right?
right,
Within independence, they got 13 independents. So we employed the PNP sometime. And then when we're tired of their failures, we employed the JLP sometime. But we've only employed those two all the time for 78 years. Now, I would imagine that if you, Carlene Ramirez Acosta, were to be given 78 years to solve a problem, you should be able to figure it out within about 5 years, 10 years, maybe
right.
15 years. But why should it take you 78 years to figure out the problem?
What the issue is.
Now, should I continue to trust you if you can't, after 78 years, like, for example, in the last election, not the last one, the one before, the 2016 election, Andrew Holness told us that he knew exactly what to do to fix the crime problem so that our farmers could feel safe, our household could be safe, our business sectors could feel safe. He told us that he knew the answer to the problem. Now, he has been in politics for 25 years, roughly, give or take, probably 27 by now. So he has been a long time in this. He has been under the tutelage of both Siaga and Bruce Golding, who were former prime ministers who have been around for a while. Siaga has been around until he died recently. He has been there before independence. He worked with Bustamante. Yeah,
Right,
Bruce Golding was trained by Siaga. Andrew trained by Siaga, and he's following the same ideals and principles, which is why maybe we're failing still. So my question to you is, should the Jamaican people, after seeing the result of 78 years of these two parties, should they not realize that that is the problem?
well, definitely. Most persons would realize no, that they have been around for quite some time and they have done nothing to basically resolve this issue. And I've heard of cases where the then agriculture minister talk about something of some traceability thing that, I mean, we have not heard anything more about that in terms of the traceability system that they said they wanted to put in place. And not
Yes.
only the traceability system that they did mention, they also mentioned about the new, I think it's a part of the JCF.
Mhm.
Sorry, the Jamaica, not the Jamaica Defense Force, the police force.
Yes.
A unit that they put together, put in place to kind of help stem this situation. But so far it continues and it basically gets worse,
Yes.
you know?
Now, our governments, both PNP and JLP, they have no shortage of
Mhm.
announcements.
Right,
So every year, especially like now, the Prime Minister has been challenged by the UIC. He has now seen that the people are fed up and tired. And so what he has done has gone into our 10-point plan. And he's now scraping every idea he can find, putting his spin on it, and then spitting that out to the people as if he and his team thought about these things. But all they're going
right.
to do, if they were going to take the ideas, and actually implement them in the way that we
That means
prescribe to
something else.
the
Right.
people, that's great. But we know that all they're going to do is to tell us about another plan. Just like how he told us he had a plan to grow the economy 5% in 4 years. He had a plan to stem the crime problem. He had a plan. In fact, he told us he would have put in fixed election dates. So all these things that he promised us, and not just him, whether it's Peter Phillips or whether it's Portia Simpson.
The same story right across the board.
So I'm saying to myself, it's time for us now to just no longer even listen to them. No matter what plan they come with, whether they're gonna have republic or we can't trust them. We can't trust them to even make us truly independent. We can't trust them to give us a republic. We can't trust them to fix the pre larceny problem. So nothing at all that they say. I mean, for me, I have no confidence and no trust whatsoever in one word which they speak, none whatsoever. And that is why, Madam Vice President, that is why we created the UIC. Because we, the people of Jamaica, have lost all confidence in these two parties. Look at our farmers. How can Jamaica, a land of wood and water, a beautiful land, God has given us
community.
God has given us the soil, the sun, the water, the intelligence.
Everything.
We have everything we need to make Jamaica the organic food capital of the world.
Capital of the world.
Every year, we're importing more and more and more and more. We're importing onions. We're importing carrots. We're importing tomatoes. We're importing everything. And so the longer, it seems to me, the longer we keep these guys in power, the more we're going to be importing.
Definitely, I totally agree with that, because if you go into the supermarkets, every single thing that we grow here in Jamaica, you can find, and they're not from here. They have been imported into the country, and not only that, the price difference is appalling, because when you find, based on the fact that I believe we have to pay so much in terms of to get the materials that are needed to support the farming industry. By the time these products get to the market, you find that is a little higher than what we would like it to be. But then to be competing against these products that are imported, it's really hard for most of our farmers. So something, I guess, has to be done in that area.
So let's talk about UIC policies now.
Yes.
UIC, first and foremost, we recognize that Jamaica's strategic advantage. We have two primary strategic advantage as a country, and even as an individual, all of us must determine what is it. What are we going to do? All of us have to decide what career we're going to follow, what business we're going to be in, and we have to specialize in it. So if you're going to be an engineer or a doctor or a carpenter, you have to decide what is it that makes you relatively unique to carve out a space in the market that's going to make you very successful. We in the UIC recognize that Jamaica is strategically placed to be a major supplier of organic food to the world. We have a lot of unused lands. We have a lot of underproducing lands. We have the temperature. We have the soil types. We have the human intellect to be able to build a massive organic farming industry here in Jamaica. Why have we chosen organic? We have chosen organic because we don't want to compete on the poor quality, the low quality, low price products that is already all across the market, right? They can get really low quality bananas, which has very low bricks level. It's not very nutritious, but it looks very nice in the skin. And you eat it and you want to eat just ate. And you might get a whole bunch of cancer in the process. We don't want to compete in that space. So the UIC wants us to compete in the space of high quality, high price, organic products that the world is going to want. The more the world becomes awakened to the healthy alternatives, awakened to the need for a healthy lifestyle and eating healthy, you're going to want what Jamaica produces. So we want to use branded Jamaica. And by the way, Andrew and Steelers, tomorrow morning you're going to hear him saying all of that I'm saying. Tomorrow morning we'll be saying all of this. But we want to make Jamaica, we want to use the branded Jamaica that they're underutilizing. So branded Jamaica and brand organic produce of all types. But it won't happen miraculously. It's going to happen by proper and effective management, which is where we come in. We're going to lead Jamaica into becoming a very well-managed and well-organized society built on good governance. And that's why we have the good governance model that you hear me talk about all the time, the non-partisan constitutional republic, because that's going to create the checks and balances that we need, that will stamp out corruption, so we can now allow the Jamaican people to become maximum producers without the political gatekeepers stifling them and preventing them. We're going to tear down all of the regulatory barriers that are currently being used to oppress the small businessman and woman and protect big businesses. We're going to tear down those barriers. And when we tear down those barriers, what it's going to do now is going to allow both market capitalization to take place, so more capital into the market for small and medium enterprises, more small and medium entrepreneurs able to effectively engage. We're going to tear down the barriers to getting a bank account. So now instead of it taking how much hours, bam, in 24 hours, you have your bank account set up, you start today, you have the
funds available.
Yeah, easy banking access. We're going to cut down the red tape of government so you can get your transactions easily done. We're going to streamline exporting so you can quickly meet the export requirements to get your products out the door into the foreign markets. So we understand business, and we understand the importance of empowering our people to be able to do business fast, business efficiently, business effectively. So we're going to now shift. This is very important. We're going to shift the thinking in Jamaica from crown lands, government having crown lands and them deciding, who them going to give it to and all that. We're going to demolish that idea. We're going to tell the Jamaican people, all of this land belongs to you. This is your oil. This is your gold. And so this land, we're going to divest it from the government and make all Jamaicans shareholders in the land. They're going to have a share certificate that says you are now a shareholder in the land, and the products of the land, the profits from the land, will now go to the Jamaican people in the same way that oil profits go to the people in like Dubai and stuff who get the proceeds from the oil. So we're not going to just give out lands to people who can't then produce properly. We're going to make sure that the people who want to do farming, the people who are equipped to do farming, the people who are competent to do farming, they're the ones doing the farming. They get to use the land optimally. We're going to have massive organic farms like we have in the Netherlands. The Netherlands is the #2 producer of food in the world, even though they're so small. They're only #2 in the US. So we're going to make Jamaica now. We're going to make Jamaica that massive producer of food, because all of these farmlands now are going to come under production. They're going to be well managed with modern technology, greenhouses, solar, wind, water harvesting technology, permaculture ideals, and we're going to get those farms producing at maximum potential. But every Jamaican will be a shareholder in that company because of the land which is theirs. Now, the flip side to this is we're going to build parallel to this a housing sector that gives all Jamaican families a property owner rights. So they'll become a property owner owning a beautiful condo if that's what they want. Some will buy their regular houses, which is okay. But for the low income persons who want to get a house and can't get it right now, they're now going to have a beautiful condo similar to the one you see in Singapore. We're going to bring our housing stock up to a 98% home ownership rate in Jamaica, get all of those persons out of the ghettos, out of the garrisons, and simultaneously convert all of our spaces into spaces that are appealing for community tourism. Move the tourists out of not out of, but they're no longer going to be confined to the all-inclusive hotels. We're going to make Jamaica now all-inclusive. So all of Jamaica becomes a tourism product. So the tourism dollar now moves away from just these foreign companies running money
Centralized ones, right?
get it into the communities, and that is going to multiply the economic effects. So watch, you're going to get new jobs coming out of making all of Jamaica clean and green. New jobs coming out of the construction boom that's going to build those Singapore type beautiful condos. New jobs coming out of the organic farms and the modern technology that we're using. So you're talking about people with programming skills, people with design skills, people with agronomy skills, people with gear science skills, chemistry, physics, engineering, whatever it is. So all kinds of jobs there, plus all the other manual labor jobs for the myriads of Jamaicans who didn't get to do well in high school, now get an opportunity to get a job that pays well, that allows them to build themselves up. So we're talking about a complete solution here, which we know these guys, they never had the vision. And even if they try to steal it, because it's not theirs, because it's not a part of their DNA is corruption. They can't help it. Even if they have a good idea tomorrow, it shifts to corruption by the next day. So we are going to be the movement, the UIC, that has a true vision for Jamaica, and that's going to deliver these things for the Jamaican people. Over to you, my dear Vice President.
Most definitely, and it is quite interesting to know that they could be talking about Singapore, because I've actually heard them keep mentioning, no one referring to Singapore. They want Jamaica to be like the Singapore, and we've never heard them mention anything, neither one of the two parties. We've never heard them mention anything about comparing Jamaica or even wanting to be like a Singapore. So all these are very, very interesting times that are going on right now.
Yeah, what they want to do, the goal is, you see, their goal is to take away our talking points. So they want, because they know that we're not being seen on regular television, on radio generally. So the Jamaican people,
Right.
en masse is not really hearing the UIC. So when ANTRA comes out and say Singapore and they're going to have a housing solution and they're going to do, it's the first time many Jamaicans will hear it. So they're hoping that by the time the UIC finds more avenues to break through to the people are going to say, oh, we hear that already. We hear that already. So they want to make sure. So this is all craft in itself. And this is what they're good at, Madam Vice President. You're good at craft. You're good at stealing. You're good at tricking. You're good at corruption. They're not good at building Jamaica. That's what they're not good at. And so once again, they're going to carry out the exercise of tricking the Jamaican people while we are struggling to gain access to the Jamaican people. You see, the PSOJ elite, the oligarchs, they have ensured that the Jamaican people are not hearing from the UIC. And don't get me wrong, I'm not asking for any favors. What I'm saying is, what should happen? Jamaica has 3 officially registered political parties, okay? So all CVM and TVJ has to do, and the Gleaner and the Observer, whenever there's an issue in Jamaica, they report to the people what the government is doing, what the PNP is saying, what the UIC is saying. That's all we're asking for. Instead, what they do, they pretend to the people as if there's still only 2 parties.
Only 2, right? We don't exist.
They don't tell them that the UIC has, right now, no Jamaicans know about when I said no, the majority of Jamaicans don't know about the beautiful 10-point plan that we have. They don't know that there is a third party with a clear vision and a clear strategy, a clear plan for Jamaica. The Jamaican people in general are not hearing this on their nightly news. If the crime rate has gone up, they don't hear that the UIC has a great plan, or at least tell them the UIC has a plan. They're not hearing that the UIC has a top-down anti-crime plan, which is going to drill down from the politicians and the big business enterprise first and find those who are behind the massive importation of those guns, because it's not the small men. You can go to the small man now and buy back the little old gun from him. That won't solve the problem. So their amnesty program of buying back the small man gun is not the problem, is not the solution. Our solution is to find out who is importing the guns, who is financing that importation. And once you deal with him or her, or him and her, and all of them, you've solved a big chunk of the problem. We also need to find out who in the political structure is providing cover for criminals. Who are they that when the criminals are to be found, they're providing cover, legal support, and all kinds of things for them. So the top-down approach is the most effective approach. And on the economic side now, we have to do a bottom-up approach. So when it comes down to economic development, you want to start it from the grassroots. So the UIC is going to build the economy from the bottom up, no trickle down, build it from the bottom up by investing in our human capital, by providing a workfare program to give everybody an opportunity to work, by providing the youth employment solution, by putting all of our students not in a mandatory program, not in a mandatory youth service program, but in a respectable and respectful paid apprenticeship program that every single student who leaves high school, who is not going into a trades program or not going to university, will go into an apprenticeship program where they're going to learn and produce and earn and grow themselves into a career or into some form of entrepreneurship activity. So we have a solution that is workable, that is practical, that is well thought out, and simply what they're doing now is picking which of our nice sounding program they can pick, regurgitate that to Jamaican people, take away the talking points, blind the people to the existence of the UIC, and hope to fool us again. But 78 years is enough.
Definitely, but I can tell you this though, I've been on the ground for some time now, and there's no way, irrespective of what is it they're saying now, and plagiarizing our plans and everything, there is no way the people are buying it, because I've heard quite a lot. Yes, they're definitely not buying it, sir. They're familiar now with the trickery, and they're used to the promises, and they have spent so many years seeing the same thing playing over and over. I believe now is the time that they're realizing that they can't trust these two parties anymore, and to believe that they will implement these things. So majority of who I've met and what I've heard on the streets, they're looking forward to having a UIC government in place to implement these plans and to move the country forward. So that's what they're looking for.
You know what I like about this, Madam VP, is the UIC isn't buying any votes. we're not out there buying anybody's votes. We don't have any money. I mean, we get a little bit of donation, from ordinary Jamaicans here at home and abroad, sending their small donations, and we're not buying people. People are just coming to the UIC because they believe in what we stand for and want to be a part of it. So that's just incredible. Let's see if we can take some questions online. I don't know if Naika can post some questions for us. I see Lion Rule here is saying enough is enough, time to step up with the UIC and Mr. Patterson as our leader. And I see, who is this now? Someone says the only way the citizens of Jamaica will survive is when we get rid of those two parties.
Definitely.
You know what? Today I went to the Gulf View Hotel for lunch. Mrs. Patterson and I had some business to do in Matamo, and we stopped. Right.
Sorry. No, go ahead, sir. Sorry about that.
So we stopped at the Gulf View Hotel for lunch, and it was so nice. One of the workers was just passing and just says, "Hi, Mr. UIC, I am following you so much on YouTube and on Facebook. I just want you to know that I am a fan of yours, and I really like the message of the UIC. I like what you're doing, and I believe all Jamaicans, when they learn about this, they're going to want to vote UIC." And so I was so impressed with that. And we're beginning to get that a lot. You know, I don't know if you're seeing the same thing, but the more I move around to different places, people quickly identify us and can tell us that they're following us on YouTube or on Facebook and so on.
Yes, I had that recently as well, because they're following us and they're watching. They might not be vocal and active on our page, but they're watching and they're seeing everything. And when they do see you on the road, they call to you. Just 2 days ago, I was over by the Portmore Mall, and someone was knocking on the glass. And when I turned around and looked, he was saying, "Hi, hi." So I said, "Hi," and he was telling me that I'm your friend on Facebook. I follow you. So, people are recognizing us, they're recognizing the movement, they're seeing what we're doing, and they're following closely because they need to know, they need to hear everything, they need to know everything. And also they're looking forward to seeing us, form the next government. So yes, it's a really good feeling.
Yeah, I'm really impressed. I am impressed because I was told that, for example, we have to focus on the young people because the older folks are not going to but that's not true.
It's a mix. It's a mixture of both young and old, but I would say majority of, based on what I've observed so far, majority are young adults, and also middle-aged person going up in their 40s and their 50s. So we have a little mix going on for sure.
Yeah,
but
we
lots of young followers too.
We have a mix, a lot of young people, but I was told that we would have only had young people. But I'm seeing, people of all ages swarming to the UIC, young, old. So I'm really impressed by what I'm seeing, going on. And I mean, we're very fortunate as well to have so many candidates who are first timers to politics. They're not, they're like me and you, never been involved in politics before in terms of running for any position. So we are truly from the people and of the people. We're not, a product of either of the other parties. We are truly coming from a place of commitment to development of our country exclusively. Yeah. Let me see here. Go ahead.
But I must say though, Mr. Patterson, that you have appealed to your policies and your plans and everything have caught the attention of quite a lot of young people. So you have a large contingent of young people out there following and looking on. Yes.
I spoke at the university recently. I was invited to talk in one of their political science programs. It's the first time because I don't normally get those kind of invitations, but I got a chance to speak with a full class of students. These are all young people, of course. And I walked them through the UIC model of governance. I explained to them how with the UIC system, they will get to directly elect the head of government and head of state as the president. I walk them through how, under the UIC, the Senate will no longer be an appointed rubber stamp body, but elected senators, one from each parish. And I spoke to them about how we're going to separate the House of Representatives and the Senate from the executive, so we have proper checks and balances. I explained how our ministers of government will be qualified and competent persons, not politicians. They'll be nominated by the executive branch, elected publicly by the Senate, and voted in by the House. They're going to be separate and qualified. And they were just blown away as I walked them through the model, and instantaneously wanted to become members of the UIC. They loved the new model. One of the young men said, I have been thinking for years, what could be the solution to Jamaica? And he says, for the first time in my life, I felt that I finally found it. I've seen it. I know it. And so they love the UIC model. They love what we're offering Jamaica. And it's a total package. We have the system solutions and we have the program solutions for the nation. So that's a good thing. Somebody here says, I no longer have a prime minister, but a president. We have a real leader. That is Ken Francis. And then Jamaican Gamer says, do you think the Maroon Treaty still stands now? that we're no longer under the Queen. Jamaican Damar, we're still under the Queen. So we're still, the system hasn't changed as of yet. And I can assure you the system will not change until the UIC is elected. Even if they tell you that you're no longer under the Queen, you will still be under the colonial system, because the two parties have no intention of getting rid of the system that has made them the rulers of the people. So the system that they've used to rule us, they're not going to get rid of that. They'll simply change the titles. So the Governor General will be called the President. That's all. Everything else will remain the same. They'll just call the Governor General a President, and they'll therefore tell you there's no longer the Queen. But in essence, the system will not change. A question here from Debbie. When you see that both political parties are poaching the UIC's ideas from our manifesto, well, we know it's great. And they are poaching them to make the ignorant people think they have come up with these ideas. All by correct. And I see cool guys saying, glad people are seeing and hearing the message, but please let us not get too comfortable. Correct, cool guy, we're not getting comfortable at all, because we are far from where we need to be. We need to have 228 candidates in all divisions. We need 63 MP candidates in all constituencies. And right now we don't have 228. We have about 100 and so persons vetted or being vetted. And we need to get more than that. And not just that, we need to have funding in order to campaign effectively. So let us not get comfortable. Let us all get out there. We need three things from you. We need you to volunteer, we need you to donate, and we need you to vote UIC. Three things. Volunteer, donate, and vote UIC. Volunteer and get the message out. Beat the CVM and TVJ, beat the Gleaner and beat the Observer. Get to the people around them. Let's go around them. Let's go around CVM, around TVJ, around the Gleaner, around the Observer, and get straight to the Jamaican people. Tell your family, your friends, your neighbor, even your enemy, tell them about UIC, and share with them these lives and videos. When you go on, when you sit there, when you're reading the Gleaner and the Observer, in the comment section, go in there and tell people that the UIC has a better way to whatever the story is, and put our website and tell them to go there and join, sign up, so that they can volunteer and donate. Everybody needs to donate, no matter how poor you are. This is your one opportunity to save Jamaica. So if it's $1 you have, go and donate to the UIC. Yeah, and if you're overseas, donate. You might not be able to come and vote because it might be difficult for you to come and vote, but every dollar you donate is a vote for good governance. It's a vote for the UIC. If you give us $100, that's 100 votes you're giving to the UIC, because you're going to help us to reach the people through your contributions. So go ahead, Connie, your time.
Right. So that is one of the most important things, it's the People's Party. It's for the people and by the people. So it's very important. We totally rely on these fundings, so, as you had mentioned earlier, it doesn't matter what it is or how much it is, just go ahead and support in any way you can. And also share the information you have, share anything in relation to UIC, just share the videos, share the 10-point plan, share our manifesto, share everything that you can with each and every one, and get the word out, because one tell another, and then it just goes on, and that's how we're going to get around the mainstream media for sure.
And let me do a big shout out to our good friend and big supporter, Mr. Keith Romans. I see you online, Mr. Romans. He says, I am donating again and again because I love my country.
Thank you.
Every month, sometimes more than once a month, Mr. Romans is donating to the UIC. He is putting together a lovely diaspora group. He has organized people from all across the US. He has brought them together, building his own UIC group. And
Wow.
I think they meet every Thursday, if my memory serves me right. Every Thursday, his group meets and they talk about and plan activities for the UIC. One of the programs that I know Mr. Romans is keen on is the JUMP program. That's the Jamaica Upliftment Monitor program that the UIC has been designing for some time and has been preparing to roll out. He and others from his diaspora group are looking into helping us to lead that program. It's a program that will help our members to form capital and invest those capital into small, micro, and medium enterprises across Jamaica. Again, Andrew, you can teach the one to, but we're not going to stop. So, we're not going to teach it. I mean,
he knows what he wants, Mr. Patterson. There are some he's not going to touch. He knows what he wants.
When I say teach it, it no meaning by implement it, in when talk about it. Because what happened is, over the years, Madam VP, they've been able to fool Jamaicans by just merely announcing. Okay? It's government by announcement. They announce we're going to get some money from over here. So they announce a new program. They announce so all he has to do is to go and say, we're going to introduce a program to help small and micro businesses, and we're putting together a diaspora group, and so that's all he's going to do. Just like
implementation.
I posted one morning that I got some tomatoes from my backyard, and almost immediately he posted that he got some lettuce from his backyard.
I saw those, yes. I saw those.
The other day I took some pictures. Me and my wife went for a walk out, by the sidewalk here, so by the farm, and I posted by the following day, him have one out, the first family and how we're doing things together. I'm like, this guy is such a star.
Yes.
I mean, you have a prime minister or a puppet. What do we have? Or a parrot? Because he seems to like the puppet and to be a puppet and a parrot for his colonial masters. Move on. It's time we have a prime minister and we have a government which is serious about the Jamaican
action, right?
Yes. So big up Mr. Romans, and I see a question here. How can I connect with this group? That is MB that's asking. MB, if you just send a message to our telephone number, here's the number. It's coming up on screen right now. Any one of those two numbers, send a message and say, I would like to be a member of the diaspora group, and then Naika will send your information off to Mr. Romans or to Mr. Wright, the chairman of the UIC, who oversees that particular committee. In fact, he's overseeing two committees right now. One of them is the North American Diaspora Group, which he has been cultivated and curating for some time. And he's also working on the European Diaspora Group as well, which is coming along nicely. Oh, by the way, I saw the Prime Minister quickly copying in our manifesto, we talk about building the relationship with Africa. And you'd have heard me talk about this a lot, all of you here, about how we're going to make Jamaica now a key player in bringing the Caribbean together and in linking the Caribbean with Africa, building a tight bond economically and culturally and so on. And now you see quickly the Prime Minister went and bring the Rwanda president here and is now talking about, but again, it is just talk. None of this is coming from the heart. None of this is coming from a heart of love and conviction for the Jamaican people and for the race. If the Prime Minister was serious about building the African society, he would never have taken the Queen's Council. He would never, and it's just the other day he went and with pride and pomp went and take the Queen Council Award from his colonial masters in England. If he was serious about Africa and Africans and building our heritage and connecting us as a people, he would not have done that. So I can assure you, Anything the Prime Minister talk about building the region, he's not for the Caribbean Court of Justice. He's not trying to build a united Caribbean. He's dividing even CARICOM. He has been a divisive figure in CARICOM. So they're not about uniting the Caribbean people. They're not about uniting the African people. They're about exploiting your emotions for votes in order to continue to control your tax dollars so that they can continue to rape your economy and leave you with the bag in the end. Question here, go ahead. Hi, Mr. Patterson, do you have a representative in Portland? If you do, I would like to know who it is so I can liaise with him or her. We're currently working on Portland, Michelle Brown. We've had some difficulties over there, but please, again, just write into the number and we would be happy to work with you to find a representative in your area and maybe you can support that person. We do have a doctor candidate program. Can you talk about that, Carleen?
Or a doctor candidate program. Basically, it doesn't matter if you're living overseas or here locally. If you so choose to adopt a counselor, you can go ahead and send in requests, and you could either choose from someone within the parish that you're from or a selective counselor. If not, you can just choose to assist any counselor, whether it may be financially. You could maybe assist with materials, flyers, and banners and stuff. So just about any way monetarily you think you can assist, it definitely would be welcome. So it is ongoing, right? You can go ahead, sir. It is ongoing, right? And we at this particular time when election is near, we're so looking forward to having persons here or abroad adopt a counselor and help assist that person in any way possible.
Yes, a person here is asking when will we post all the candidates on the website? We're working on that. We currently are working with the webmaster to put them all up. As we get closer to the next, I would say by the end of next month, you should be able to see all the candidates up there.
Candidates, definitely.
Yes, we're working on that steadily. It's not easy actually, but we're working on it. Question here. Well, a comment. UIC will see Jamaica to victory. Absolutely. Mr. Patterson, maybe you giving away too much info. They will steal for sure. Election time, you speak of your ideas. I know that's, you see, that has been the approach over the years where the parties hide their manifesto from the Jamaican people and then they spring something at you a few days before election, knowing that you're not really going to read it actually. And that's why afterwards they just go away. The UIC manifesto does not change from year to year. We might have additions or small amendments, but our manifesto remains very solid. The one that they won't steal is the system change. They will not steal that one because if they change the system, then it fixes the problem. So our manifesto is grounded in changing the system. We must put Jamaica on a different system, not the colonial divisive system. We must have a system that is based on the idea of unity, liberty, and good governance. Yeah, so that's our system, and I detail that. Parts of it are on our website right now. That's our manifesto. The 10-point plan will not change. They can steal ideas, but it will not change. We are going to make sure every single student who leaves school gets a job. Every single one of them, an apprenticeship job that pays them to learn and to be productive. We're going to fix our police and our army. We're going to make sure we have a police service and we have an army that is actually protecting our borders so nothing bad can get in, and that Jamaicans are well protected and police and soldiers are paid effectively. We're going to change our education model to the LEAD program, the Learning Enrichment Advanced program, so that our students are not just learning by rote, and they're not just learning skills that are not going to make them productive and not going to make them effective individuals. We're going to change the education model so that our children learn to understand themselves, understand how to form good relationships, and understand how money works, and translate that into technical skills, both trade skills and academic skills and professional skills, right? We are going to make sure our teachers and nurses are paid well and are trained well so that they can help our children, our families, our communities to be educated, healthy, and strong. We are going to deal with the corruption in our government from the top down. We're going to make sure that we root out corruption ruthlessly so that the Jamaican people will have a government that is smaller, that is more cost effective, and that actually provides for them a safe, clean, and orderly society. So we don't have to worry about putting out a new manifesto every year, because we're not into the gimmicks. We're not going to offer you free water 1 minute and free electricity another minute and play games with your tax system. We're going to simplify the tax system. You're going to have 2 taxes, just 2. One will be a income tax on income from all sources. Every single Jamaican will pay tax. As long as you're Jamaican, you must pay tax to make sure your country is safe, clean, and orderly. We're going to have a sales tax, GCT, cut it from 15 to 10, and dedicate that to poverty elimination. So we are going to eliminate poverty because we're going to make sure that our poor people have a home, a decent home, that their children get a quality education, and that we have the kind of citizens that can lift the country productively and make us economically independent. So these are not things we're going to play with. We're not going to come up with gimmicks every year. We're going to have a solid plan. It'll be the same plan this year, next year, and the year after. And all we're going to do is continue to refine it and make it better. We're going to work to lift the Jamaican people from the bottom up with a grassroots economic solution, with organic farming as a key part, with community tourism as another key part, with a clean and green environment as another key part, and intellectual brilliance as the core of our education program to bring out the best in our people by building our human capital. So they can take whatever they want. They can use whatever talking points. The people know, and we will remind the people that if they couldn't do it in 78 years, why will you trust them to do it now? If they could not give us a safe Jamaica in 78 years, you cannot trust them to give you a safe Jamaica now. If they could not give you a good education system in 78 years, you cannot trust them now to give you a good education system. If they couldn't give you good health care in 78 years, you cannot trust them now to give you good health care today. If they couldn't get the corruption and give us a better system, a very, very true republic in 78 years, you cannot trust them now to give you a true republic and a good system of governance now. So it's very simple. No matter what them tell you, a lie them will tell, they cannot be trusted, and we must never, ever again allow your country. Go ahead, Ms. Vivi.
I'm saying do not believe anything that is coming out of their mouth, because they've already set the trend that nothing they say is they will carry through on it, you know.
Exactly.
But I must also say, Mr. Patterson, that quite a few, well, almost all persons that I've spoken to and I've read the 10-point plan, they love the elimination of the toll fees. The Portmore residents are so looking forward to this one, and the no more property taxes. They are so looking forward to this one too. So you know, that is something that the Portmore residents love.
There's no reason for Jamaicans to be paying toll. We have very few roads here, and all we have to do is to maintain our roads proper. I tell you something. If we had an intelligent government over the last 78 years, we would have very few cars in Jamaica. You know why? We would have had a very, very effective and efficient public transit system whereby people wouldn't find it necessary to have to buy cars. Some would still buy it, that's fine. But because you could get from east to west and north to south on a beautiful train system, an ideal ferry system, you know, the ferry is the boat, right? So So you have this little big boat now. Let's take it, for example, from say Port Royal to Kingston proper,
Kingston,
to
right.
say what do you call it, Mineral Springs, out there in Clarendon, maybe to Treasure Beach end there, then stop over in the grill. Lovely ferry system, move you around quickly, and then right through the country like a fishbone. You have a straight artery from St. Thomas and Portland all the way through to Hanover and St. James, a nice clean straight rod for a high-speed rail going back and forth, and smaller transit that takes you off into each of the major areas in the parishes in between. Very, very simple system, very efficient system that would move goods and people around the country at rocket speed. You could live in Montego Bay and work in St. Thomas with no problem at all. That's what we needed: leadership, vision. Singapore has it, by the way. Singapore has a beautiful high-speed rail system there because they were able to plan and build. But here's a question here: how do you ensure all Jamaicans pay taxes unless your plan assumes the existence of a digital slavery currency? No, right now, if you were to go to Canada today, just to give you one example, Canada does not have a digital slavery currency system today, and they've been collecting taxes from all Canadians for the last 100 years, 50 years to be more in modern time. So you don't have to have a digital slavery currency to collect taxes from everyone. And by the way, the UIC is not opposed to a digital currency. We're opposed to a digital currency that is misused and designed for government control as opposed to facilitating easy transactions between people. So we're going to make sure we have a system and set of laws that protects your privacy, that protects your sovereignty, and then allow us to have the beauty of all the best technologies working for us, good technologies in terms of infrastructure, in terms of telecommunication, in terms of education, but we're going to prevent the government from becoming your lord and governor, or your god, or your slave master. That's the key here. Let's take some other questions. The UIC is the party with the plan, the Empowerment Party, and the People's Party. Absolutely. Every Canadian pays taxes. That's correct, Winston. So, and you're not using the CBDC yet. They're all going there. Canada's going to go to the CBDC and so on. The UIC will eliminate the CBDC. We encourage all Jamaicans, every Jamaican, do not join the CBDC. Do not download that app. Do not participate in their program. Do not take their $2,500. Don't allow freeness to cause you to lose your freedom. Okay? So don't take it. Just like how we stood up against them with this injection, let's stand up against them with this fake currency and say no to the digital currency. They cannot force you to take it. You just say no, and they won't be able to do it. When the UIC is elected, we will give you access to true cryptocurrency, which will be free of government control and allow you to be able to use whatever currency you want to do your transactions without Big Brother or big government trying to be your dictator or your master. Enough says, I am listening to your audience with the cut land taxes topic. Look like him not brave enough. Right. Oh gosh, that's another one, Cardi, another big one from our manifesto, which is to eliminate property taxes. Please, Andrew, get the one there, right? Eliminate property taxes. No, property taxes is a fraud, it is theft, it is immoral. Nobody should be paying a tax over and over for a product they bought outright and pay taxes for at the beginning. It's wrong, it's draconian, and I know that they've tricked us into accepting it, but it's time the Jamaican people vote to get rid of property taxes. Vote UIC to get rid of property taxes and to get rid of those tolls on the road.
Definitely.
What else do we have? Any more questions, Naika? What's this now? Oh, it's gone. I missed that one. We have to empower the people. Information and business is the only way to improve the country. Absolutely, Jamaica's next step. We must have an educated population, and we must have a business-oriented population. We do not need a handout dependency kind of nation. That's what they've created, a handout and dependent nation where they tell people to depend on politicians. We need to change that. We need to empower the people to meet their own needs. Questions: are you aware of the EFF, Economical Freedom Fighter, South Africa? No, I'm not, but I'm aware of many groups like the EFF, who is actually no idea. I know of them. Yeah, there are many groups out there on that. So yes, and we support all these groups that want to liberate people economically. Would you make Adams the next commissioner of police? The way the UIC works when it comes on to making anyone head of any of the various bodies is a process where the executive branch nominates, the Senate would vet publicly, and then the House of Representatives vote. So we're going to have a transparent process. So it's not a matter of me just saying, currently the Prime Minister has the power to do that. In the new system, it will be more transparent. We have another person here, Ms. Mason, it seems. I am a UIC member that lives in Florida. Is there a group support for the UIC that I can link with here? Very good question. Latia, you might have to form that group, but let us connect you with Keith Romans, because we're working now to get statewide groups. I know we have a full North America group, but we're working to break out into state groups as well. So again, take the number down, our number, which is here, 876-293-0812 or 471-6598, and just contact us and say you would like to form a group. Let's form many groups. Anybody out there who want to form a UIC group, form a group. Just call up who you want, call up one person, 2 person, 5 person, 10 of you, and say, listen, let's come together and support the UIC. We have one group right now coming together. They're forming themselves together, and their purpose is they want to fund the website. So they're coming together. They're gonna dissect our website, critique it, and make suggestions, and they're going to raise funds so that we have a proper developer and a proper webmaster. And they want to make sure that we have the most professional, most up-to-date website in the world. So that's one group that is committing to doing that. Form your own group. You can say, listen, I want to be a part of the group that's going to build the new constitution for Jamaica. And so you're going to put some money in so we can pay some lawyers to help us go through some of the different difficult areas and so on. And we'll get that done. So whatever you want to do, jump in and do it. What do you say, Carly?
Yes, I totally agree, because the more groups that are formed out there and the more unified we do get, it's better for us, so we can get the word across, so that the entire Jamaica and the world at large can know about the United Independence Congress.
Absolutely. Somebody here is saying that they say Lisa Anna is copying the UIC plans as well. Yeah, man, all of them.
Yes.
Lisa Anna, all of them. They're all watching the UIC. And I tell you something, right now, they're all shaking in their boots, you see? Because they know that the party they're a part of is a fraud. They know, like, you see, here's why you cannot trust Lisa Anna or any other member in the leadership of the PNP or JLP. They know that what they're a part of is a fraud. They know, and they have taken the easy way out by joining what they know to be a fraud, instead of taking the hard path that we in the UIC have taken. I could have just joined one of the other two. I could have joined one and made my life easier. But then all I would have done is made my life easier. But I would not be about fixing Jamaica. If you want to fix Jamaica, you cannot join the PNP or the JLP. You might hear of this guy named Andre Orton. Andre Orton is said to be quite the economist, a young economist, very bright, very articulate, very well spoken, very nice fellow actually. But he decided to go and join the PNP. Now, how can you be a smart, bright person and choose to join the PNP or the JLP? If you're a smart, bright person, you should have done your homework and see that these two parties are actually the destruction of Jamaica. They have just one example. He's an economist, and forgive me, I'm going to go off track here for a minute. Andre Horton is an economist. All he had to do was to say, ever since these guys have taken over Jamaica, the value of our dollar consistently goes down. The value of our dollar consistently goes down. As an economist, he should ask himself the question, why? Why is the value of the Jamaican dollar always going down? And he would find this. The answer is very simple. Because the productivity of the Jamaican people are going down. You see, it's very simple. As our productivity goes down, our export goes down and our import goes up. As import goes up, the value of your dollar goes down. It's very simple. The value of your dollar is based on the relationship between imports to exports. So if your exports go down and your imports go up, the value of your dollar goes down. If your export goes up and the import comes down, the value of your dollar goes up. Now, he's an economist, so he must know that. Then he should say to himself, what are the policies that have led to this? And he would see, for example, the PNP's policies of the 1990s that wiped out 40,000 Jamaican businesses. You should have seen the JLP policies of the 80s that gave big business massive benefits, borrowed millions of dollars from the US and siphoned that money off in the pockets of a few while leaving the majority destitute. Now, if he did that kind of analysis, how on earth could he then, knowing that as an economist, join the PNP? So all of them do that. You know why they join the PNP and why they join? Because they want an easy way. They know that politics is the best way to get rich in this country. If you are a bright economist or a bright medical doctor or a bright nurse or a bright teacher and you want to get rich quick, join the PNP or join the GLP and hope you get into a ministerial position, and that will give you access to taxpayers' money. It will make you a gatekeeper, will allow you to be a massive corruption agent, and that will make you rich while the Jamaican people stay poor. So all of them know this, and them choose to go and join the JLP and PNP because they want that. And so you can't trust them, no matter how pretty they may look, no matter how nice they may talk, no matter how rootsy they may be, no matter how flashy they may be, no matter how much clocks they may wear, no matter what nice suit they may put on. All of them know that these two parties are a part of a massive corruption enterprise, and they have chosen to join them instead of building a new movement to address the problem. No, I build that movement. Vice President Carlene Ramirez Acosta is helping to build that movement. And all the candidates you see across Jamaica wearing this blue shirt with this symbol on it, they have decided to build a movement from the bottom up against the odds of the PSOJ elites not funding you, the odds of TVJ and CVM not showcasing you, the odds of people laughing after you, the odds of people even threatening you. We have chosen to go the hard and difficult path of honesty and integrity to build a good Jamaica. They have chosen the path of thievery and trickery and division and distraction in order for them to be a part of the system that is extracting the wealth of the Jamaican people to enrich a few at the expense of the many. Back to you, Madam Vice President.
Most definitely, Mr. Patterson and the guest, you know, if it is that they've seen what is happening in the economy, and as you mentioned, this bright young fellow And for him to make a decision to go the other way is just a way for them. It's their get rich quick scheme, you know. So instead of going the other way and do the right thing for their country and for their fellow Jamaicans, they prefer to go the old-fashioned way. I would call them the
Yes.
old-fashioned way, you know. So they prefer to go the old-fashioned way so that they can participate in all this corruption, and you know, be able to
Yes.
achieve things that they would not normally achieve in I mean ordinarily working in their capacity, you know. So it's just a
Absolutely.
get rich quick scheme, and it is wrong. And you know, it's nothing for them to feel great about.
Exactly. There's a question on the screen. I don't know if you can see it. You want to answer that question for us? If you can see it.
Repeat that for me.
Can you see the question on the screen? This one here.
Oh
It
no,
says,
can you read it for me, please?
it says, will all members be required to stay on code with the manifesto? Will all members be required to stay on code with the manifesto? That's the
To
question.
stay on code.
Yes. I guess they mean, will all members be required to I guess, follow the manifesto, or how do you say it now? Agree with the manifesto, or support the manifesto? Of course, well,
Yes, yes, all members, yes, you have to read the manifesto and understand where our principles lie, and you have to align yourself with this if you wish to, you know, participate in this movement or to be a part of the movement. You must support our position in relation to the manifesto.
absolutely. The manifesto is what we stand for. The manifesto is our values. It talks about what we want to do. So if you support the UIC, then you have to support the manifesto. Now, the
Manifesto.
good thing is you can if you see something in the manifesto that you don't like, you can bring it to our attention. So, for example, I give you one. I'll be very transparent with you. There are some people who may be uncomfortable with the level of freedom we want to give Jamaica. Because we're the Freedom Party, we're the Liberty Party, right? So we want to give Jamaica the freedom. I hear somebody, Carleen, some persons were concerned about you having I think they say it's a ring, a tongue ring, what do you call it? I, I think
Yes, I have a piercing, yes.
piercing, yes. And they were concerned about it. And I said to them, why? Why are you? I said, that's her choice. So that person is strongly supported by the UIC, but they were concerned that I was okay with you having that because they think that's not professional. I said, so I asked them the question, is it professional to wear an earring? I said, if it's professional to wear an earring, then it's okay to wear if a person chooses to. So my point is this, which I try to make to people. The UIC wants to defend the rights of every man and woman to make the choices they want for themselves, so long as they do not use force or fraud to infringe on the life, the liberty, or property rights of somebody else. So if somebody is not infringing on your right to your life, to your liberty, or your property, leave them alone. A freedom choice. If a person wants to wear a green shirt and you don't like green, don't make it bother you because a freedom body and a freedom shirt, and then go buy it. If you want to wear a red shirt, wear a red shirt. So if you don't like a person's personal choices, that's fine. Don't expect me or the government or the laws of Jamaica to seek to undermine the other person's choice to satisfy your personal preferences. As
That's
long
wrong.
as long as the other person's choice is not using force or fraud to infringe on your life, on your liberty, or your property rights, leave them alone. So that's an example of a policy in our manifesto, which some persons may not be comfortable. For example, one more, Sister Carly. Some people want us to be a Christian party. They want us to go around and say, we are serving Jehovah God, and we want to put forward these principles of God. Now, I am from a Christian background, but I totally respect the man from a Rasta background. And I totally respect the man from a Muslim background. Totally respect the man from an atheistic background. As long as their religion does not involve using force or fraud to violate anybody's life or liberty or property, that is their choice to make. Religion is a personal choice. Just like how the clothes you choose to wear is a personal choice. The food you choose to eat is a personal choice. If I'm a vegetarian, but I have no intention of forcing you to be a vegetarian, I believe you must have the right to eat what you want to eat, as long as it does not involve you using force or fraud to take somebody's life, liberty, or property rights. That is the foundation of the UIC. We are about individual sovereignty. And here's the big thing. All other constitutions across the world, all other governments across the world does not honor the sovereignty of the citizens of their country. They put something else above them. Here in Jamaica, we put the Queen as our sovereign. And then we put Parliament next. The Prime Minister said it. There's one sovereign in this country, and it is the government of Jamaica. No, Andrew. There's one sovereignty in this country, and it is every individual in Jamaica. Every individual is a sovereign soul in this country, and our collective sovereignty is based on our joint commitment to protect our individual sovereignty. The people does not exist to serve the state. The state exists to serve the people. Government exists to serve and protect the individual sovereignty, the property rights, the life rights, the liberty rights of every citizen. And the moment a nation, the moment a government forgets this, we end up with what we had in the last 2 years, where they actually believe and get angry that they should have the right to inject whatever they want into your body because they say so. Because we, the great men of government or World Health Organization or big pharmaceutical companies, we have the right to decide what goes into your body. Not yourself. The UIC is going to strip you of that right and protect the rights of every individual to be a sovereign citizen. Back to you, my dear Vice President.
Oh yes. You have basically covered it for me in relation to freedom of expression and freedom of choice. I am really happy to know that the United Independence Congress is inclusive in their hiring practices, and you know that we understand that each and every person has a right to so do what they choose with their body. You know,
Carly, I want to get this. Somebody is saying what I am saying is simplistic, because they're saying, what if somebody does something that infringes on somebody? But I just answered that. I said your rights are your rights as long as you're not infringing on somebody's life, liberty, or property rights. So I'm not being simplistic. I'm being moral. There's a difference. The UIC stands on the foundation of strong morality. And here's the morality. All men and women have a right to be free. And the only reason we form government is to protect that freedom. You see, if we didn't have government, it would be the Wild West. I could come and kill you, steal from you, enslave you, and we would have to fight it out, and you would have to defend yourself, and I would defend myself, and we'd have a very, very anarchical society. But instead, we want to have a government that we give the responsibility of enforcing laws that says, here are my rights and here are yours. I have a right to be free, you have a right to be free. I have a right not to be enslaved, you have a right not to be enslaved. I have a right not to be murdered, you have a right not to be murdered. I have a right to my property, you have a right to your property. And I must not initiate force to take any of them, and you may not initiate force to take any. And should we do that? should you or I initiate force or use fraud to take somebody's life, liberty, or property, the law will stipulate restitutive punishment, and you will be forced now by the law to change your behavior. So we're not being simplistic at all. I know I'm simplifying it for the purpose of easy conversation, but what we're talking about is a real solid constitution. Jamaica is going to have the best constitution the world has ever seen. You know, before the UIC, America, the United States of America, had the best constitution. Okay, no other country. The US set the gold standard for liberty in the world, and they weren't even perfect. The UIC is going to make Jamaica now the true gold standard, because we're going to supersede the United States in the quality of the constitution we're going to have and the quality of governance we're going to have. So when the US will now be looking to Jamaica. After the UIC is elected, and we have our first referendum within a year, and the new constitution comes into effect, and we have all the adjustments in the next 4 years, and have our first election under the new constitution at the 5-year mark. When we have that, the entire world is going to stand up and admire the good governance of Jamaica. You're going to hear the entire world talking about the new non-partisan constitutional republic of Jamaica. They're going to be like, wow, what a nation, what a people. And you're going to hear children in Africa, in Asia, in North America, getting up and saying, we want to have what they have. Jamaica is going to become the freest nation on earth, the most well-managed nation on earth, the most happy and productive people on earth, because we would have been the first nation in modern history to have such a governance model that balances freedom with responsibility, and all because we would have designed the best system of governance the world has ever seen. Look out. Jamaica is going to make a mark. We've done it in sports. We've done it in music. We've done it in tourism. Now we're going to do it really, sports. Now we're going to do it where it really counts. We're going to do it in governance, and we're going to do it in economics. Our governance model is going to make us one of the richest and most prosperous nations on earth, but we must do it with governance first. Okay, quick thing. Through the UIC, Jamaica will be the envy of the rest of the world, said Andrew Carey. Yes, sir. Big up, Andrew. Latoya Wolf, big up the UIC president, Mr. Patterson, and vice president, Mrs. Carlene Ramirez Acosta. Thank you, Ms. Wolf. What is this now? In order for UIC to collect taxes from every Jamaican, UIC need to encourage patriotism in the society. Okay, thank you. We're going to do one better than that. We're going to have a system of governance, a system of control. You see? Let me just speak to this briefly. If you have a country that has poor controls, it will not be able to levy taxes and collect taxes effectively. Or it has to resort to very draconian measures. It's like a company. A company with poor controls result in many slackness and theft and corruption and all kinds of stuff. So Jamaica is going to have the kind of controls which makes every Jamaican a responsible citizen who will have to comply with very simple and very low cost tax measures. We're going to lower the tax rate to 10% and increase the compliance with the simplicity and the low cost nature of the taxes. And most importantly, people are going to be able to see the impact of paying taxes. Right now in Jamaica, like where I live in St. Elizabeth, I've been here for 11, going 12 years now in this community. I've only had 4 garbage pickups in 11 years. 4 garbage pickups in 11 years. I pay my property taxes and I pay all of my other taxes on time. Yeah? I paid my taxes straight, and I've only had 4 garbage pickups. If you drive down most of our streets here in Santa Cruz or Balaclava or Silo or Braze River, anywhere, you will see mountains of garbage along the street. You will see people have thrown garbage over on empty properties all over the place. Yeah. So if people are paying taxes and they're not seeing where it's going, their cars are still dropping into holes and they have to change front end and change rack and pinion and whatever. If people don't see where their tax dollars are going, they have no incentive to pay taxes. But if people see it, if people also see that the system is easy to comply with, you're going to see compliance going up, your revenue is going up, and you're going to have a better society. It's not easy, by the way, but it's going to be better, and we're going to make it better. All right, I think we have exhausted our time now, Madam Vice President. So I'm going to say goodbye to all of you. There are still questions coming in, and I wish we could take them all. One person says, what would make the UIC accept Andre Otten and Damian Crawford and Lisa Hannah or Mathis Amuda in their ranks, bearing in mind that these are young persons who may have made a mistake? Very good question. I think it's really a matter of how they approach it, right? I mean, Damian Crawford, for example, has been quite positive about the UIC. I've heard him made a number of positive comments about the UIC. So if any of them want to join, they would have to really come and talk to us. We'd have to see where they understand our values, they understand our mission, they understand our vision. They're willing to denounce the practices of the past and help us to clarify what has happened to the Jamaican people, speak freely and clearly to us, the Jamaican people, about what has happened and help us to move on, right? But to simply jump to the UIC without taking the appropriate steps, wouldn't be good. Somebody says Lisa shouldn't even be in Parliament. I wouldn't pick out any one of them. I don't think, they're collectively responsible. They're collectively, and even if you made a mistake and join, I like that Andre Otten quickly left. He joined the PNP and he quickly left, at least publicly. I don't know if he's still involved, privately, but publicly, and that's a good sign. Do you think if you do some of the projects like catchment system in local communities, you will gain? We can't do these projects in the communities. We can't do them because they require money, right? So I know one of the ideas people put out is that people only vote for you if you go and do all these things. There's no way, we can't do them. We can hardly find money to campaign, much more to go do projects. If the Jamaican people would say, yes, we're going to give the UIC an allotment of money to do some projects, so we can see what you do, we'll gladly do it. But let's be realistic here, right? Let's be very real here. The UIC is a political movement. We're not a charity. We're not a advocacy group. We're not a projects group that's going to just do a project. We're here to give you a political alternative. And so asking us to go into the communities and do projects would take us away from our mission, because if we're going to know, let's say we're going to do a water catchment project, it means we have to take time away from policy development, from planning and from campaigning and from all of that. And now we're going to redirect our energy and resources, limited energy and limited resources, in trying now to do these projects. Now, all that would do would make sure that we are not able to respond to what's going on in the political arena. I'll tell you what will happen. As soon as we start a project, the government who has your money will come next door to us and do a bigger project. You're gonna have your money, right? So let's say we decide to go and build a few bus sheds, for a simple one. So bus sheds. So we go and we start putting up a bus sheds. We wouldn't have a lot of money. We wouldn't have a lot of time, because all of us are working people. Andrew, it's a full-time job for him to do what he's doing. And he has the state coffers, all the money that you have given him, that I have given him. He has all of that money. He has the resources, he has the consultants, he has all the people. He would just say, oh, let's see what the UIC is doing, let's divert our attention there. They'll quickly divert and start building wonderful bus sheds all over the place. And then you quickly forget about what we're doing, because we cannot compete with them. They have your money, they have our resources, they have all the money in the world. Every time we try to go and do a project, all we're doing is taking limited money, limited time away from what we need and preparing to lead the country. Go out and start with project management. We don't have the expertise to do it. We would have to go hire people, right? If we're going to do a project, we have to hire engineers, we have to hire designers, we have to get planning. Furthermore, we're also going to be in contravention of the law, because we have to get permit from the very government to do that, right? We have to get their permission. If we start to go do a project, we may be violating this law or that law. Right now, even in our private lives, when we're trying to do private projects, they deny us permits because of our political connection. I'm talking from personal experience, So you get denied, and you get to, get to all kind of misery trying to do it. So I know it sounds, that's what you call simplistic, right? To say, go do project. We cannot do the projects. It's unwise. It is impractical. It is not reasonable. But it sounds good to say. People, oh, show us what we can do, UIC, show us. We cannot show you anything. We cannot go and do any kind of project that is going to compete with the government. They have billions of tax dollars and borrowed funds. Yeah, for example, in the last election, just during the election cycle, the PSOJ oligarchs gave them $300 million. If we had contested the last election, we might have only had $3 million. You know what I mean? We would have $300 million. So let's be very practical, my people. I want to talk to you now. I want you to understand. Let us not have unrealistic expectations of the UIC, a small startup political movement with no backing from the big money elites of this country. The only backing we have is you. It's if you decide that you're going to donate, if you decide that you're going to volunteer, if you decide that you're going to vote. We cannot put enough ads on television for you to vote. In fact, we can't even afford television ads. Let alone to wipe out our budget in no time. You understand? And they know that. Our opponents know that. They can afford television ads because before the elections, they get millions of dollars from the PSOJ oligarchs, from the elites. So the big companies here in Jamaica, they are the ones working at odds. Here, you the people are over here, holding on to your purse strings, holding on to your wallet, holding on to your money, waiting to see how the election turn out. The PSOJ is not waiting to see how the election turn out. They're funding it to turn out the way they want it to turn out. They want you to think that there's a competition and that you're voting between two horses. You're not voting between two horses. You're voting for the PSOJ. Whether you vote JLP or PNP, that's why you give both of them the money. So $300 million to create a fake horse race to entice you and to excite you, and they both throw out all kind of nice sounding words and gimmicks: free water, free electricity, the first child of every home get university, and all kind of foolishness, literally. And they throw this out there and get you excited. Even if you're not going to vote, you might not vote, but you're busy getting excited watching the PNP go in, and the GLP, who nicer, who sound better, oh, Andrew might win, oh, Phillips might win, or oh, Mark. You get all excited. They're laughing at you. The PSOJ oligarchs, they don't even go out and vote. They give the money, they don't even vote. Yeah, the upper echelons, the ones who are getting the government contracts, the ones who are getting the government jobs and stuff and sitting on boards and so on, they don't even vote. They call them the upper middle class. Is the ones who are hanging out of buses most time and so on. They're the ones voting and they'll kill each other. They'll go fight in the street. They'll stop, they'll shoot, they'll do whatever and fight. To vote for who? They're vote, all of you who vote PNP or JLP, you're voting PSOJ. Every one of you. If you vote PNP, you're voting PSOJ. Vote GLP, you're voting PSOJ, because no matter which of the two wins, they will be working for the PSOJ elites. And I'm being very honest with you, very straightforward. They will never tell you this, okay? But they know the PNP cannot do any of the so-called socialist ideas of Michael Manley because the PSOJ says no. The JLP cannot do any of the whatever ideas they come up with because the PSOJ says no. The PSOJ elites says this is what you are allowed to do. And no, if you don't do it, we will withdraw our $300 million and see how you survive. All they have to do, if they don't like PNP for a moment, they just give a little less to the PNP, a little more to the JLP. If they don't like, the same thing. So please, my fellow Jamaicans, please, let us be politically mature now. I'm begging you, let us stop being fooled and tricked and misled by those who have been leading us by the nose for 78 years. It's time for us to give up this idea of PNP and JLP and focus on being Jamaican. Give up the idea that a third party can win by wishing and dreaming. We can't wish by wishes and dreams or prayers. All we're going to win is by you, the Jamaican people, saying enough is enough. I'm going to join the UIC. I'm going to volunteer. I'm going to donate. And I'm going to go out on election day and carry my friend, my sister, my next door neighbor, my co-worker, and a dog if possible to vote. Even my enemy will carry to vote UIC. That's the only way. The UIC will not have the money to have flashy ads on TV, to have all kind of jingles played on radio. You know why they can do that? The PNP and JLP, they have the money. Listen, sorry, VP Karin, I'm killing it right now.
Go ahead, sir.
The same 300 million they give them and spend it back on their TV program and on their radio station and in their newspaper. So the same PSOJ oligarchs who own the media, they own the TV, they own the radio, they own the newspaper, they give them 300 million, they spend it with them TV, they spend it with them radio, they spend it with their newspaper to fool you. And then you hear it and see it, and you say, hey, they spend it on their bus. So the people who have the bus, they spend it back with them to carry people around in the bus and so on. They spend it back with them. And then after they win the election, the reason you don't see your MP anymore and your councillor anymore is those who took money out of their pocket now, the little MP now who spend off the money from him little business we have to try to win. After him spend that off now, him spend the next 4 to 5 years trying to get back all of that money plus some. So if I get back 2 or 3 million and spend out of his pocket, plus another 10 or 15 million to build a bigger house, or to expand this gas station, or to expand this wholesale, or whatever. And you know who vote for him for the $5,000 or the $7,000, that's all you get for the 5 years. If it's $5,000, that's $1,000 a year you have gotten for your vote. You have voted against yourself while thinking you were getting something. You didn't get nothing. All you did was to give away your power to 2 groups for them to work on behalf of the PSOJ and to carry the fool a little farther. All right? That's it for me tonight. I've said enough. Thank you all for your time and the energy. You have the last word, Madam Acosta.
Oh yes, I must stress on the fact that elections are near. because based on all the campaigns that they've been doing, it's obvious that election is pretty close. So, appealing to everyone in the diaspora, locally, please go ahead and adopt a candidate if you can, help out in any way you can, and encourage everyone to go out on election day and vote for the UIC representative in their area, because not only will we win the local government election, it will also set the pace for us to win the general elections. So go out and do the best you can and donate in every way you can and help us to do the work that we are meant to be done.
Thank you very much, Madam Vice President. Thanks to all of you. Have a good night. And remember, this is important. The reason why Jamaicans are not farming is because of 78 years of the JLP and PNP. So let's fix that and get farming for a better Jamaica. All the best. Take care.
All right. Good night. Good night. Yes.
Bye-bye.